Hello students, let us peer review this question answer paper of mock 1 for grade 10 CBSE. The student has responded or the candidate has responded to the CBSE sample question paper and scored 17 in reading, 3 and a quarter in writing, 10 in grammar and 18 in literature. We are going to use the strategy of 1 star and 3 wishes. That is, we will identify one good quality in this and answer paper, and 3 wishes means 3 suggestions for improvement. We will suggest how this candidate can improve the presentation as well as overall response of this sheet. Now, with the very first thing that catches the attention of the examiner is the presentation. If we look at this paper, we can see that there is no margin and there is no alignment of work, the header as such. Usually, it is expected that the students write their details on the top and the examination and then continue with the response sheet. Now over here we can see that part A has been responded and the question number 1 subpart 1 and MCQ response is D and the answer of course is correct. But if we were to see that where to write the question number and the subpart and where to write the response literal and the answer, the teacher has drawn a margin for the student. The question number and the subpart should be in the margin as well as and the literal and the answer should be in the textual area. The margin should be drawn over here. So presentation is one area which is definitely required for improvement. Have a look at this and this kind of and kindly try to avoid in responding as long as it's a part of the option given to you, but in writing it should be avoided as such. Have a look at it and suggest how this candidate can improve in MCQ, responding to the MCQ. The candidate has scored quite a few answers which are incorrect. Now, one thing is to point it out that when the CBSE has given the option to the candidate to select any 10 and respond out of 12, the candidate should be very sure because the CBSE examiners do not correct if you exceed the limit. If you can see that the remaining 2 answers were correct, but those were not counted. Why? Because as per the CBSE policy, these are not counted. First 10 responses are counted whether it is right or wrong. In the second question, you can see the candidate has gone to the second question, but there's no line drawn over here, and the presentation is one area of concern for this candidate. You can see certain errors, margin missing, give your suggestions for improvement. If I were to try reading this opportunity to travel new places, I wouldn't be able to read it at a go. If I were an examiner, it's quite difficult to read the handwriting. The legibility of the handwriting is also a concern. Again, any 10, the policy of selection and responding following the CBSE regulations has not been followed by this candidate. Question number 3, most probably the candidate has gone on to question number 3, but the clarity is very poor. Question number 4, assuming the question number 4 of the CBSE question paper. These are the sub questions. Margin should be drawn over here. And these are the literals and the answers. The candidate has written the literal and the answers correctly, but in the presentation is again a cause of concern. Had the candidate got drawn one margin, it would have made an impact. Presentation is one area of concern. One should be very careful when writing, responding to the questions. Option was given to select any four, but the candidate has gone beyond that. Section B is writing. First of all, the person should select and declare what writing, option 1 or option 2. The choices were given. One has to be very clear whether it is option A or option B, option 1 or option 2. And what is it, what writing is it? Is it placing an order, or is it a, um, a letter of complaint, etc.? The self-address, if you can see, the self-address is incomplete. The candidate will not get marks properly for this. And one more thing is that date. One has, if it's in language paper, one has to spell out the entire spelling of the month in order to score marks. Then we have the address of the recipient. There is hardly any designation mentioned, no address, it's incomplete. City and country is not mentioned. We can see that subject is mentioned just before it, but as per the format, it is first the salutation and then the subject. That is, first you greet the person, you grab the attention of the person, and then you declare your subject. You don't declare your subject beforehand. This colon and a hyphen is completely incorrect in English language. You may use a colon but no hyphen after that. And this should not be a sentence, so it should be just three words to give an idea of the what is the question all about. Salutation is missing. That means dear sir slash ma'am. That salutation is missing. Or it was just sir, comma. I am sorry. This is a conversational language. It is not the language of for law language used for writing a formal letter. One has to begin with reference to, in order to bring to your notice, with reference to something, with a reference to a catalog of 2020. One has to mention and place in order. Avoid the one has to avoid the use of I, we, and us because it is conversational writing. In academic writing, passive voice is used so that you can avoid I, we, and us. You can see the short form, so I suggest short form. It is incorrect. The use of I has been mentioned. The format, the student has lost marks for format. Content is relatively weak. Fluency, there are no fluency words like moreover, therefore, for, and other such words may be placing in order. Accuracy of language or grammar, the language has been marked low due to the casual approach, writing and expressing. Subscription of the letter, but first of all, the content is quite weak. Spelling is a cause of concern. Your truly is written only to letter to the editor. Writing your truly for an office letter is unacceptable. One has to use formal language or academic language. Signature as per given, and name in capital letters with the bracket. One has to practice that. Then is the chart that is given for language analysis, literary analysis, that is a bar graph. The chart displays the data. This line, the opening line, was given in the question paper. One should avoid copying the statement that is given. And then the use of this and, symbolic and, it has been pointed out that one should avoid the use of symbolic and in a language paper. The marks will be lost. And if you were to look at the spelling, INCREA, there's a small s over there, there's a small e also over there, which is hardly visible. So, and the spelling of computer, again, and COMPUTER. We never begin a sentence with but it is or it is unlikely, or state something and then contradict it, it would make sense. Otherwise, it is inappropriate. For format, the candidate has scored a 0. Kindly suggest how the person can improve on the format of analytic writing. The content is weak as the data information is used, but there is no comparison established as such. And then the words for fluency has hardly been used. Symbolic language, which is not allowed, is used, and there are certain words that is just scribbled and ended without an ending, so spelling wouldn't be marked. Spellings, there are quite a number of errors. Literature. Coming to literature, the opening sentence, that is the writer's name and the title, is essential. There is no argument regarding that. And then responding to the textual question. Reference from the text is a must, that is citation. If it's a 2 mark question, 1 or 2 words as citations. The symbolic and to be avoided. The poem discusses, the poem doesn't discuss. It is the poet who has sketched a picture in the poem. The choice of words are inappropriate. Kindly suggest certain better vocabulary, and if you can write the question or answer for the candidate, it will be extremely helpful to the candidate. If you can select, then write the question number and the sub question number and the appropriate answer, how you would prefer responding to the question. That will be very, very helpful for the candidate. Name of a person is written in capital letter. We never write colon and a hyphen. We just express ourselves as per the given. The students were supposed to write a dialogue. Names should be in capital. Thank you very much for your kind attention. You are requested to give 1 star and 3 areas of improvement. You need to find a star if the person definitely question the response she doesn't have does have some good quality. You need to bring it out and then give ideas and suggestions for improvement. Thank you very much for your kind attention.